All right. Thank you, Monty.
Thank you, Brother Cummins. And one of the things Brother Cummins didn't tell you, whenever he came to Fancy, my hometown, where he resided, he was my next door neighbor. Tonight I'm very pleased to be on the platform of the New Democratic Party. I have been a member of this party right from its inception, right from the beginning. And I really had the privilege to have served as one of its ministers for 12 years, 9 months of its 17 years or so in office. But let me first of all say a pleasant good night to the folks in Sandy Bay. I also want to hail up the folks from my own hometown of Fancy. That is the community that made me the person that I am. I want to hail up the people from Ovia. I'm hearing over yonder, and I also want to hail the people from Kramaku. Is Velda and Hayden here? Is Velda and Hayden here? They are the ones who live in Kramaku. I hail up the people in Point. That is the hometown of my mother. I have a lot of roots and so on there. I come to Overland, and here we are in Sandy Bay. We go to London, Magum, and there's a nice village extension of Sandy Bay that is developing in Noel. We go down to Overland and Orange Hill, and then into Monbentic and Chapman's and Basin Hole. I go to O'Brien's Valley and up into Dixon. And I have the privilege to hail up the folks in Spring Village, which were not part of the constituency during the time when I represent that area. And so also is the village of Caratal. I know why you're here tonight, because a lot of people call me and ask me, will you be in Sandy Bay and will you be speaking? I know why you come. You want to care whether or not I am going to be the candidate for this constituency in the next elections. But I want to ask you tonight, I want to ask you here tonight, all of you from this constituency, whether or not you really and truly want to have me back as the candidate. Well, I almost knew what the response was going to be like. Because over the last 6 months or so, I have been paying regular visits into the constituency. And after 17 years in retirement, I was really amazed with the sort of reception I am getting from people in this constituency. You really humbled me, eh? And I know why my reception was such a great one. Because even though I've been in retirement for 17 years, people have not forgotten what this new Democratic Party and what this humble servant has done for this constituency over that period of time. But as I look at North Windward now, and especially so in this area of Sandy Bay, I'm very ashamed, very, very ashamed of what this community and this constituency has been reduced to by the Unity Labour Party. Somebody say it is forgotten. I say it has been abandoned. Believe you me, it has been abandoned. I heard the Prime Minister sometime on the television speaking about what percentage of people had water, pipe-borne water that is, in their home. And nothing could be farther from the truth than that. There's absolutely no truth in what he said. But we have grown accustomed to him and those sort of old talk and so on, right? If I take you into my own home, village of Fancy, and I have, pardon me if you hear me referring to it too many times, huh? Brother Cummins, as manager of the Water Authority, and your humble servant as the MP, we were able to mobilize the entire village of Fancy, every single one of them, to put in their labor when the Water Authority provided pipelines. And we built a tank and we were able to give pipe-borne water to every single home in Fancy. I mean, there was no exception. Every single home received pipe-borne water. Plus a free connection, mind you that. And if that isn't enough, if that wasn't enough, there was no meter on your water line. They paid one flat rate. One flat rate. And Brother Cummins made mention of the OWIA project, water project. I was also part of that. That project was able to send water over Rokes Hill into Point. For the very first time, the people there were receiving pipe-borne water. Prior to that project, they had to journey nearly 3 miles to OWIA to tote water up the hill to their homes. Sandy Bay had a water project. But with the help of the Water Authority and a church, I think it is the Baptist Church, if I'm not mistaken, they were able to provide a proper water supply to the people of Overland. And when your humble servant came on, even in Monbentic, everybody who didn't have water then, we were able to provide them with pipes. They dug their own trenches and they had a water supply. So when the Prime Minister spoke about this percentage, big lie. I hope he wasn't talking about North Windward, because every single community in this constituency had a proper water supply. And that can be said for the entire country, as a matter of fact. Now I want to touch a little bit on the question of unemployment. It is said that 46% of our young people are unemployed. Well, the very people in the community, as I come to, said to me, that can't be true. One guy said to me, I don't know about the other areas, but here in North Windward, you have to turn that figure backward. So rather than saying 46, you say what? You said what? 64. And some even feel it is much higher than that. And if you want to really see something about unemployment here in North Windward, come through here on any given day. Drive through this constituency on any given day. And look at the blocks, as we call them. Look at the shops, the walls, wherever young people hang out. And you'll be amazed of the number of young persons with nothing to do, just wasting their lives away. But the Unity Labour Party has to be blamed for that. They are the one who destroyed our agriculture program, which was providing employment for a number of persons here in this constituency. And here now, one of the chief architects of who destroyed the banana industry. I heard he is now manager for the Oria Arrowroot factory. What is that saying to you? That they set out to destroy the arrowroot industry. I heard the latest is that the folks in Oria, they work at the factory for 6 weeks, 3 fortnights, and they went and paid them for 1 week. Arrowroot is an annual crop. Annual crop. You have to wait a whole year before you can get some money in your pocket. But you know what is happening here and has been recurring for the last 6 years? After you would have sold your rhizomes, you still have to wait another 4 or 5 months before they can pay you. And sometimes they pay you in installments. When I heard about the new manager who doesn't even know what arrowroot looks like, I said, but how come that the government didn't give it to one of their supporters here in Sandy Bay? I'm sure they would have done a better job because they know arrowroot, they've been in it for years, they have experience, and I'm sure the people in the area here would have been much happier having one of their very own managing the arrowroot industry than to bring somebody from outside away down. And no objection to Selman Walters, who doesn't even know what arrowroot rhizomes look like. I would have been happier that they give it to one of their own supporters here in Sandy Bay or here, because they're the ones who know about arrowroot, who slave in it. Their foreparents have slaved in it for a very long time. So they have a history. They know what they're doing. I had the privilege to have served as the chairman of that industry for 2 years when we didn't have a manager. As a matter of fact, my former colleague, Minister Alan Cruikshank, was the one who said to me, and I think somebody says somewhere in the crowd, right? Is Alan there? Yes. You know what he said to me? Monty, I think you are the best man to take over the chairmanship of this industry until we can find a manager to take it over. It is in your constituency. You have interest there. You know about arrowroot. And for those 2 years, farmers were able to get financial assistance to help them to harvest the rhizomes until they sold their crops. We used to start the crop on time. We never used to go all the way down to February and March of the next year when the rhizome begin to spring back and they begin to lose starch on it. You can't get good quality that way. I used to go to the Prime Minister then, Sir James Mitchell, and say, boss, this is my position with the arrowroot industry. We only have X amount of dollars in it. This can't carry us for 2 or 3 months. We need a loan to see us through for the first 3 or 4 months until we sell our 4 set of starch. Every year, I would go to him, and he never turned me down. He would send me to Brisbane, I think was the man at the National Commercial Bank then. And by the time we were able to harvest for the first 3 months, we would make enough money to repay that debt so we can go again the next year and have some money advanced to carry the crop. These fellas don't know. They don't know what they are doing. They don't know what they are doing with the industry. Because the NDP was for the people in North Windward. Today, Labour don't care nothing about us up here. We are forgotten people. We are an abandoned people. I don't know how many people look at the roads and the wicked and the drivers. I'm glad you were able to bring your people here safely. And I'm praying that you can get them back out of this area here safely. There are some 5 or 4 waterways between Orange Hill up into Sandy Bay here. The slightest shower of rain which falls, we are marooned here. We can't get out and we can't come in. And that's no joke. Apart from that, people who live on the banks of those waterways have lost part of their homes during the last two floods. Half of their homes gone, and they live in half. Some have lost their homes completely. They are now living in rent houses. I understand some of them have been paid by the government. Many of them approached me and said, Mr. Roberts, I'm ready to begin to put up something somewhere, but I need a spot of land. But I say land is not a scarce commodity in North Windward. We have more land here than any other constituency in this country. More land. The New Democratic Party gave over 3,000 acres of lands to people in this constituency. ULP came in and they began to take back some of the lands from them. Would you imagine that? We also put in 22 miles of feeder road in those lands. If you see the state of the roads nowadays, one good friend of mine said to me, Robbie, vehicle used to drive right onto my farm. Today, I have to walk through somebody's farm to get into my lands. You wouldn't believe those were motorable roads. Grass has taken them over. Half of the asphalt gone. And people can't get to the farm as they ought to. But we all know that they had no interest in agriculture anyway. We saw what they did with the banana industry. And they're threatening the root industry now. The youth in this area, in this constituency, are suffering. They are suffering. They have done nothing to help develop the youth in this constituency. When I represented here, I had 4 playing fields being developed simultaneously at the same time. One in my hometown of Fancy. One in Owe, which I moved from the bottom up to the hill because the one at the bottom was a pretty small place. Here in Sandy Bay, they had one down the bay side there. Anytime the sea get rough, the whole place is flooded out. And the folks in Sandy Bay can tell you that. When it rains, water from the road will flood the whole place. I cleaned it off a couple of times, and then I said, this is a waste of time. We need new lands to give the people a playing field here in Sandy Bay. And I established the London playing field, please. My aim was to develop it as the #1 playing field here in North Windward. Because by far it is the largest one. I started a building there to be used as a washroom and a changing room. Just like how I left it 17 years ago. It is the same way. Nothing else has been done to it. The Owe playing field, just like how I left it, it is the same way. The one home by me in Fancy, just like how I left it, it is the same way. I started one in Orange Hill. New Orange Hill Village, just like how I left it, same way. And you say, I love youth? So the youth who are idling don't even have a proper place they can go and kick a ball. Because the playing fields are surrounded them. Oh, we had a hard court. Somebody have to tell you that there used to be a hard court there. And a lighted one at that, you know. A lighted hard court. They have all been abandoned. I believe this constituency has more government abandoned buildings than any other constituency in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Government property. I didn't want to say this yet because I'm not your candidate. But I would say it. I'm not your... Well, yet. Somebody said to say yet. So I say yet. But I began to work on a program for this constituency. I want to present it to you yet because I have to have your input into it. I will not prepare a program for this constituency and don't have the villages involved in telling me what to get inside of it also. We're going to work on it together because we have to execute it together. I can't do it alone. So, when we get over the yet, when we get past the yet, I would come to you in the communities. We would sit down together and we will plan together a proper program to deliver again this constituency here. One of the things I want to say to us, those of us who experience the goodness in the NDP party, who know what we have done, you need to talk to the younger generation. Eh? Please, you have to talk to the younger generation. Because look at it this way. Look at it this way. You have to hear me on this one. Eh? If somebody is 27 years old today, how old was that person when NDP left office? You know, you're good at maths, man. Oh, Elvis taught you maths, not you? Elvis is the best maths teacher that they wanted to get rid in this country. And suppose you were 18 years now, you just registered to vote. How old were you when NDP left office? Huh? You were only one, you're just born. So all the good that we did, you see what happened? You see what happened? Are you with me? You get that? Well, we have a serious education program to do. And that is exactly what I have been doing as I move around slowly but surely with some very good helpers in this constituency. Somebody might say I'm blowing my own trumpet. But if it is my trumpet, who's supposed to blow it? Simple case. But my trumpet is your trumpet, you know, as NDP supporters. So if I am not there to blow it, please blow it there for me. If I'm in Fancy, blow it in Dixon. If you're from Dixon. If you're in Spring Village, blow it in Spring Village. By the way, I went into Spring Village a couple days ago. Boy, I tell you. But you know, when I represented this constituency, I was looking pretty far ahead too, you know. Spring Village was not part of my constituency who represented it. That road was go up to Dixon was the boundary. But I always used to hang out on the Black Day because somewhere in me, I always felt that that village should have been part of North WINDWARD. So I touched the lives of a lot of people in Spring Village. I sat by Kali's shop some time ago. I was up and about and I was a little tired. I went there to get a drink. Not Guinness and strong rum, some water and so on. Something soft. That's the major. And a gentleman saw me from a distance. Far off. He came to me. He said, "Boss, I saw you and I had to come to shake your hand." I didn't remember the fellow. He said, "I'm from Spring Village. And I always said to my wife and children that when I was putting up my shanty, my shack, you were the only person under God heaven who reached out to me and gave me some assistance, even though I was not part of your constituency." And there are many others there as I go through who are waiting to remind me of what I was able to do for them, even though they were not part of my constituency. But that's how the NDP operated. We don't watch faces because when you become a representative for a constituency, you are representing the entire constituency. And I used to get a lot of licks from some of my colleagues, you know. Because I'll tell you something, the ministry that I had was in charge of materials and school supplies and that sort of a thing. And when the allocation, when the money came, I used to ensure that every single constituency receive a quota. Because I was saying, you're not really politician who's going to get this. Well, I hope not. I hope not. It is the nation children. I was shocked. Ralph Gonsalves used to come there, Geraldine Miguel, Mike Brown. All of them, when the quarter comes around, used to come to ask, "Well, how much are you giving us?" I said, "I ain't giving it to you. I'm giving it to the person on the board. You can go and talk to the person on the board and work out something with them." But they all used to receive a quota. They all used to receive a quota. I was shocked to learn that nowadays, since they got into office, not a single NDP representative has received any assistance to help them out with the program. Not a penny. But they have people on the listener stool who died many, many, many years ago. Could you imagine that? All of that has to change, man. We are all one people, one love, one nation, one people under the heaven. I'm leaving. But as I said to you, when the yet become a reality, you're going to see more of me and you're going to hear more of me. Because I have to sit down with you so together we can plan a program to take this constituency out of the rut that the ULP has put it into. Thank you very much. Have a good night.